Well, this is the 2017 Hyundai Elantra, and it's interesting because just last week I dropped off the Honda Civic and jumped into this car. That car won North American Car of the Year and Canadian Car of the Year, and the Elantra and the Civic have long had a battle here in Canada for the top spot. One year the Elantra came very close to beating the Civic. That Civic has been the bestseller for 18 years in a row, and this car, this new one, is going to try and take that one on. So I'm not here to be talking too much about the Honda Civic, but I will be drawing some comparisons. Now, the car that shot up the middle and came in number 2 this past year was the Toyota Corolla. So it's interesting, we have Civic, Corolla, and Elantra as the top 3 passenger cars in the country. And for 2017, Hyundai hopes this one is going to inspire some people to turn towards their brand. New look on the outside. This car is 20 millimeters longer. The wheelbase remains the same. So they made the outside a little bit bigger. You see it's got a much more chiseled look, more in keeping with the Hyundai Sonata and the Genesis with the square front grille and also some more accent lines. That fluidic sculpture that they had years ago really was dramatic at the time, but I think it didn't age very well. This new car has some new tech as well. When you walk up to the rear of the car, it has the ability, you just have to walk up behind it and stand there, and after about 3 seconds, the trunk will pop up on its own. It's spring-loaded, it's not power operated, but that is a nice convenience feature we're going to see in more and more Hyundai products. Also, on this limited model has another feature. When you open the door, you're seeing something you typically get in luxury cars. That's a power memory seat. So it moves back for easy access into the car. And then when you start the car, the seat moves forward to your memory position. There are 2 memory seat positions. So that's stuff you typically only see in high-end cars, now filtering down to a compact model. So much better looking on the outside, more in keeping with the Hyundai's design philosophy. And inside, you notice a whole new dash. All right, I'll show you. When you get into the car and you start it, the seat moves forward. And that's something you would find in luxury cars about 10 years ago. So I'll switch the car off, don't want any noise in here. So new cabin in here, new dashboard, a similar look, in fact, to the Sonata. So it's open and it's wide and it's flat, and the dash is covered with soft touch materials on the top, but on the sides of the doors, it's still all hard plastic. And the level of finish in here is not as good as the Civic, in my opinion. I think they've got better quality materials, especially on the doors. But regardless, it's a new functional interior. It's certainly roomy enough. Hyundai claims that this car is as big as an Audi A4 on the inside, so take that for what you will. You get heated seats as standard equipment in Canada. The base model, however, does not come with Bluetooth. You have to go up to the automatic, about 18 grand to get that. You also get a 7-inch touchscreen, or you get an 8-inch screen in this limited model and above. When you get the 8-inch screen, you also get Android Auto, no Apple CarPlay, but talking to the manufacturer, it's reverse compatible, meaning when the Apple system is available, you'll be able to go to the dealer and get it flashed and use that. There's also a TFT in the center of the cluster here. So nice features like a heated steering wheel, available heated back seats, and leather, of course. The sort of stuff that you would not think you would get in a compact car many years ago, but everybody's battling for consumers to buy their products, and they're adding more and more features into this car. So pleasant interior. Is it groundbreaking? Is it class leading? No. Is it going to do the job for most people? Absolutely. Now, Hyundai and sister company Kia make a big deal about the fact that they're the only manufacturer to have their own steel mill. They press their own high-strength steel. It's lightweight. It provides a lot of safety and fuel efficiency because it's obviously stronger and lighter. And then they bond the vehicle together with glue and welds to have a stronger structure to bolt the suspension onto. Well, that's all great stuff, but the suspension has to be the kind of suspension that's going to deliver the best kind of feedback to you. Now, because this vehicle has a torsion beam suspension, not independent suspension in the back, what they do, in my opinion, the feeling I get, is they just make the shock absorbers feel a little bit stiffer, so the initial rebound gives you that feeling of sportiness and connected to the road, but after a while it can just feel kind of harsh. In addition, they've gone with a stiffer sway bar in the front, and when you compare it to other cars in this class, like we talked about the Civic already, that's got independent rear suspension, Mazda 3 has independent rear suspension, those cars give you a more planted feel, and the suspension can do more work for you and you don't have to make it stiff. So that's one thing on the suspension. Steering is okay. They do have the drive modes. You have a button here. You can go from normal to sport to eco depending on what you want to do. Changes the throttle position, the shifting of the transmission, and the weight of the steering wheel. Now this car comes with a 6-speed manual or 6-speed automatic, and that's one area where I think this vehicle definitely shines. Is the transmission is new. It's definitely lighter and more efficient, and it's helping to eke out better fuel economy. But I like a good old automatic transmission, and that's one area with the Civic, for example, and maybe the Corolla with the CVT that some people don't like. This car has the good old 6-speed. Then you get into the engine. It has an Atkinson cycle. This is something we see typically in hybrid cars, and it's a different way. It's a very technical thing to try and explain, but what it does is it makes the engine more efficient. Now this car has pretty good horsepower, 147 horsepower from a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. Then you add in the available safety features. There's blind spot warning, there's lane departure warning, there's forward collision and advanced cruise control system. It even has auto braking. Under a certain speed, the car will brake automatically for you with pedestrian detection. Above a certain speed, it'll just scrub off if you're going to have an accident to reduce the amount of the impact. So that's all advanced safety stuff, but it's really all kept for the top models, where Honda brings those safety features down to less expensive choices. Now on fuel economy, I'm getting around 9 liters per 100 kilometers in mixed city and highway with mostly city driving. And I feel that's pretty good. With the Civic, I was getting about 8, but I'd done a few more highway runs with that car. But the suspension for me is something I really want you to feel for yourself. Drive it for a little while. You know, you get that initial feeling like, oh, I'm really connected to the road, but all they're really doing is making the shock absorbers, that initial dampening really kind of harsh to give you that feel, but really it isn't the best handling car. A good commuter is how I would call it. It's a good everyday A to B kind of car. But just like most other compact cars in Canada, this car starts at under $16,000, but that's for a base manual transmission and no Bluetooth. You want to go to a base automatic transmission, that's going to cost you about $18,500. Now for about $20,000 on the GL, you add in blind spot warning and cross traffic alert. That's about the same price that Honda adds in Honda Sensing, which is a much more sophisticated safety system. So they offer that system on much less expensive models. If you want to get the 8-inch screen on this limited version, you have to spend $26,000. And to get the top model, which is called Ultimate, in order to get HID headlights, the autonomous braking with pedestrian detection, the same kind of stuff that Honda has in their Honda Sensing, you have to spend over $28,000. So on pricing, Honda has a lot of that advanced tech in lower trim levels, and that's to their advantage. The ride is not exactly what I would call inspiring. It's a good everyday commuter car, but this car I think compares closest with that Corolla and some of the Honda features. New design, new tech in safety and on the inside, so this is a major step forward for the Elantra. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. If you'd like to watch a full review of the all-new Honda Civic, click the picture on the left.